The New Gods, issue 6, Ram V writing with Evan Cagle and Philippe Andrade on the art. So, this is about the Black Racer coming after Light Ray, who should be dead. He kind of died in helping everyone escape New Genesis, and this is actually a slightly different issue in that normally they've been like the first little chunk have been the guest artist, and then most of it's been the regular. Here it flips it, where most of the issue is the guest artist, and it's mostly this Black Racer and Light Ray stuff. Before we get a little bit of like present day art at the end with the regular artist. But there's some interesting stuff in here. So the whole idea that Black Racer's been chasing Light Ray basically forever, and now it's finally time to catch him because he's technically dead. But this idea that there's this darkness that's infecting the stream, because they're basically going to the source, and this idea that Black Racer basically demands that the source put Light Ray back to help fight like whatever this is, this thing that's like infecting everything and coming for them. It is a little bit uplifting, I think. This idea that Black Racer's willing to kind of like vouch for him is kind of interesting, given that Black Racer's effectively a Grim Reaper.
Well, it was the fact that too that Light Ray, since he was a kid, had this fascination of what happens after you die, right? Yeah. Because we get a bit of the backstory that he was with Orion when they were kids, and they uncovered these people or these things from Apocalypse that were holed up on New Genesis. And even though they were kids, Orion held his own, but Light Ray was beaten severely, and they thought that would be it. But through that, it showed his character that he got up and he still wanted to become like a hero, right? He chose that life. And since then, he had this fascination with the Black Racer. And is he the one that can outrace death, right? And they do this thing where with Ram V and Philip Andrade that they turn Light Ray into this embodiment of hope, right? And like, what does that mean with death, right? That if you give the concept of death this little bit of hope, what does that mean, right? Does he get to help it along? Does he still just do his job? Does he bring it there? But, there's just a whole lot of levels going out of this book that's about warring gods.
Yeah, I mean, he goes to the source, right? The idea that the light at the end of the tunnel is the source, and he goes to it and says, look, I was supposed to get him, I'm the Black Racer, but not like this, not with this like dark energy that's went after him. Like if anyone can hear me in there, if you can bring him back, you should, because if you don't, then I'll do something about it. And then we get the really ominous couple of pages where we go to like Van Horn, Texas, and this character, this unknown character wakes up. Clearly, like something, like maybe this dark energy has infected him, maybe, or something, because it feels like it definitely looks ominous the way his eyes are kind of like looking in some of those panels, but.
Well, and just whatever that energy is radiating off of him, because everything is like a really cool blue. Yeah. But there's like this red that's coming off of him. That's very creepy.
Yeah, it's very muted, like a lot of this, because all this art's watercolor, so it's all very muted colors throughout. But yeah, we see on the TV that something's crashing through space, and it's the ship that the New Genesis ship that with the survivors on it. So, and this is where Superman's just confronted Orion, and they see the ship coming down. So like Superman and the Justice League go to like help catch the ship and like sort of like bring it down safely and slowly, which is a fun enough ending. It is kind of funny though that we ended that last issue with like Superman stepping in as the cliffhanger, and then we get legitimately 3 pages at the end of like continuing that part of it. But. It does feel like now that they're here on Earth and like everyone's kind of intermingling, that we're going to maybe like everyone's going to maybe get up to speed and what's actually going on here and what the stakes are. And when I assume Orion and Barda and Scott finding out what happened on New Genesis is going to be a bit of a shock. So I'm curious to see how that plays out as well.
I was going to say, I really like at the end where Orion's just like, they're from New Genesis, something's gone wrong. And Scott's like, they need help. And Superman just turns around and goes, I know, we got it covered. And it's the Justice League, and they go into, do what they need to do. And I like that confidence from Superman and everybody, even Ollie, who's there. He's like, man, I'll catch any falling debris with these anti-grav arrows. And it's like, buddy, what are you gonna do against a spaceship with the arrows? But you know what? I like your confidence here, and it just kind of shows, what this world is capable of with our heroes.
He could have stayed at home.
He could have. I mean, you got Wonder Woman and the Amazons, building up something over here. But Ollie's just there in his hood. It's just like, what are you gonna do? But all right, he's there for moral support.
Yeah, I think the thing that this book's been doing over and over again is it's been making parts of the story feel like epic in a way, and I think this story sort of like, I don't know if you even want to call it the afterlife per se, but this void that the Black Racer and Light Ray are in when all that stuff's playing out, it does feel very ethereal. It feels like we're doing something bigger than life. So it adds this sort of stakes and this idea. I think this is making me care more about a character like Light Ray than I think anything I've ever read has. Now I've not read a lot of the old Kirby stuff or anything like that, so I mean maybe that would do a lot for me as well. But this felt like it was really selling me on the idea of who this character is, and even Highfather seemingly being sad that Light Ray might be gone and being told that Light Ray might be gone. I think is good stuff. Also, really simple little idea at the end, or towards the end, when Black Racer's talking to the Source. I do love that as he says his final line, you actually see the Source from the reflection on his visor. And it's this idea that he's waiting for a response, and that this is kind of represents the core, the brain of whatever he's looking at. I don't know, there's just something very kind of otherworldly and alien about whatever the Source is exactly. I don't know, it feels big. So...
Yeah, well, definitely they're mythic at the same time too, because I don't think I mean, again, I haven't read the Kirby stuff. I don't think I've ever seen a representation of the Source, right? You just hear the New Gods talk about it. So the fact here that we're getting just even in a reflection, and like you said, it looks like kind of like this brain that has outstretched, not tentacles, but you know what I mean, outstretched pieces in the reflection of Black Racer's visor. So. Yeah, it makes it seem like this big, larger than life concept. But yeah, no, really, really good stuff. Yeah,
no, I mean the book continues to be kind of special, and is I'm glad it seems to be doing well digitally at the very least, if not as well physically, because it's nice that Ram V's name's starting to sell books. Just based on his name alone, rather than having to be a big character to pull it off. So no, it's good stuff. Is it my favorite issue? Probably not, because some of the all the fighting on New Genesis in the last issue was just such an epic feeling. Or the backstory as to how, that this new kid, this new god, how that came to be. That was such an epic sort of odyssey of a story. But it's amazing how big and epic everything in this has felt throughout the whole thing. Yeah. So, what are you giving New Gods, Matt?
I'm gonna say 8.5.
9.
Oof, all right.
I think. Yeah, I think I'm going with 9.